Welcome into episode 2 of the Good News Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Tidwell, alongside my co-host,
Jordan Calendar.
Yeah, and today we're just going to bring you some good news, some funny news, and some weird news. But first of all, Jordan, how was your week?
My week's been good, man. Yeah, we had midterms this week. Don't really want to talk about my OT midterm, but
Understandable.
But you know, we're here. We're doing it. We're doing our thing. Trying. Some of us are trying our best, you know.
Yeah, I get that. I haven't had any midterms yet. I have one Monday, and I have a few assignments to do this weekend before missions conference gets started up next week. Then after mission conference, we have a fall break, which is going to be so nice.
Yeah. So I'm actually having surgery on Monday on my meniscus. So while you're at missions conference, I'm going to be laying on the couch cuddling with my dog. So
Oh, shoot.
Thoroughly looking forward to that. I mean,
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yep. So
the surgery, it stinks that you're having surgery,
Yeah.
but at least you'll get some time to lay down. I think we're
Yeah.
all at that point in the semester where we're just tired. I
Yep.
know I am. I'm more slap out.
Yep.
Just so tired. Tired of homework. Just tired.
just tired. I'm tired of being tired. You know
just
what?
plain old tired. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's honestly, I have kind of had the adverse feeling, really, as like the semester carries on. I'm getting like more encouraged, like more in touch with what the life is here at Moody, and I mean, I'm speaking from a freshman standpoint though, so like I can't really relate to your sophomoric views, but
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely
confused.
But yeah, it's been good, and I've been encouraged, honestly, on my short time here.
Yeah, that's last year for me was it was a weird time for me because it's the first time I had ever been that far away this far away from where the town where I grew up, which is 10 hours, and I've never lived anywhere other than my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And so last year, the first semester was just about getting through it.
Yeah.
Just trying to prove to myself
Right.
that I can do it. And there were some times where I didn't think I could. I applied at a community college back home during fall break because the semester was so crazy I didn't have time to think about it. But then once it slowed down a little bit, I was like, I don't want to be here.
Well, you did this during fall break?
Yeah. Because my roommate had went home because he lived in Ohio, and so I was by myself alone with my thoughts,
lonely,
which is always dangerous.
Yeah,
and I applied at a community college back home, and then I told my mentor about it, and he essentially gave me a spiritual butt whooping.
Yeah,
and was whipped me back into shape.
Yeah, come on, get it together.
Sometimes you need that.
Yeah,
and I needed it. And
That's good. That's good. You had somebody do that for you.
I'm still kicking here, so
that's good. That's encouraging, man. I don't know if you guys can't tell or not, but Eric is from Alabama. He's got that beautiful Southern accent. So, but this is a long way from home, man. We're a long way from Alabama here. I just live in Michigan. I got love for the glove, and it's right around the corner. So I get to go home sometimes.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Christmas this year, and then spring break.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so
that's good.
Well, without further ado, you wanna check out some news stories?
Sounds like a plan, my man.
All right, this is the part of the podcast where we go into our news stories, and first we're gonna enter the weird news stories. And if you wanna go first, you're welcome to go right ahead.
Okay. So it's just kind of like a short little clip that I had found on the internet. There was a flight going from Phoenix to Boston, which I imagine could only be max 4-hour flight. I've flown from Dallas to Sacramento, and that was 3 hours. So Phoenix to Boston can't be, too much farther, I'd imagine. But there was this dude on the plane doing pull-ups on the overhead bin, and they actually had to stop the plane and kick him off. And multiple people on the plane, like the flight attendants and, just the normal passengers on the plane, asked him to stop, and he didn't. And I couldn't imagine being so determined to try to work out that you're just doing pull-ups on a plane.
Pull-ups on a plane. What dedication right there.
Yeah.
I can't even do pull-ups. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like a bucket list thing. Like,
I want to do pull-ups on a plane.
That's the Mile High Club, right? Oh, man. Doing pull-ups on the plane, man.
Pull-ups on a plane. Wow.
Yeah.
Just start sprinting up and down the aisles after to get his cardio in.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I would be mad if I was a passenger on that plane and we had to stop my flight to kick some dude off that was doing pull-ups and nobody could stop. That'd be rough. That make me mad. And it must be so difficult to grab on to the overhead baggage thing. Unless the doors popped open. It's such a problem. End of the day, it's such an issue for somebody just to be doing pull-ups on a plane. But
yeah, it's definitely weird. I'd be mad too.
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever been around cows much?
I worked on a farm for a summer, and I shoveled a lot of cow poop in that summer. So yeah, it does stink. Yep. Honestly though, the area where they milk the cows stinks worse than shoveling the cow poop. Because I don't know what it is, man, but that stuff is nasty.
Well, the story that I have, the title is "Painting Cows to Look Like Zebras Has a Surprising Benefit." And so basically, scientists in Japan have discovered a clever way to reduce the need for using pesticides on livestock. And the evidence supporting it is pretty black and white. So basically, they paint these cows to mimic zebras, and it reduces the amount of pesticides. It reduces the amount of flies that land on them and bite them, and it reduces the amount of medicine that they need.
Really? That's really interesting.
Which that is really cool, but it's also pretty strange. I have a picture of a cow painted like a zebra.
You think the paint would harm them? I mean, they'd have to be using some sort of animal tested paint. But
it says that flies are less likely to land on black and white surfaces due to the polarization of light, which impairs their perception. Researchers found that the zebra-painted cattle were bitten by nearly 50% less than solid black animals.
That's actually really impressive. 50%.
I wonder, the first person, all right, they have a meeting, scientists in their science room. Well, we got to do something about these darn flies. What are we going to do? The guy goes, let's paint them to look like zebras. Did everybody look at him like he was crazy? How much pull does this guy have that they were like, okay, go get me some paint. We're going to paint these cows.
It honestly sounds like it was the idea of one of the scientist's kids. It was you know what I mean? It was just kind of like a joke at first, and then they realized that, oh, wait.
This might work.
Yeah, this might actually work.
Well, yep. So, apparently, according to their research, it works. So, we might see that coming over. We might see some zebra-looking cows over here in the United States soon.
That'd be incredibly strange.
It would be so strange.
I couldn't imagine. It would be weirder just to watch somebody paint a cow. You know what I mean? I can't imagine the cow's too thrilled to be having this happen to them.
Yeah. What do you do for a living? I'm a cow painter.
I paint cows, actually.
Oh, you paint cows pictures? No, I paint cows.
No, I
actually paint
painting
cows.
On cows, yes. That's pretty funny.
All right. We're going to move into our next portion of the podcast, and this will be the funny news stories. So, you can go ahead.
So, this is a Spanish man, a man from Spain. I'm gonna murder this name, Lucio Ballesteros. Maybe that's right. But he built a 60-foot, 2,600-pound spaceship in his backyard to fly to a planet that he wrote about in his novels. And he says technology isn't quite advanced yet, so he's going to keep it in his backyard until it gets to the point where he can purchase this technology to actually have a plane that can fly.
To the planet that he wrote about in his novels.
Right. Yes.
Alrighty then.
I don't know if this is like a PR campaign that he's got going on to try to like drum up some business for his novels and like they ain't selling too much. Because to me that's what it sounds like. I can't imagine that somebody would, actually think that they could reach a planet that they what? But I mean, then again, there is the concept though of like when somebody tells a lie enough, they start to believe it themselves.
Yeah.
So writing a novel, I imagine, takes a long time. So how much was he thinking about this planet? And like, I don't know how in depth his novel is, but like, what if this dude actually believes that he could fly to this planet that doesn't exist? That doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Out of a spaceship that he built in his backyard. His wife has got to be so pissed at him. Like, he spent all this money building this spaceship. Yeah, so
we've been starving for weeks. Yeah, but we got a spaceship.
Yep, that's what's going on in Spain nowadays.
All right.
But yeah,
this happened. My story happened in the UK, the United Kingdom. So the police force in Nottingham said they received a call about a goose flying into a car. And in a post on Twitter, the police said, when a colleague asked if a call had been received about a goose flying into a taxi over the radio, we had to see it to believe it. The force joke on social media that the bird may have been heading to the Nottingham Goose Fair, an annual event which takes place in the area in the first week of October. So that was the joke on Twitter. But they actually, if you go on Twitter and look at Radford RD Cops, they have a picture of this goose in a taxi.
So it flew inside of the taxi. It didn't just fly into it.
Right. No, it flew inside. Like,
right. Yeah.
The car was
yeah.
going.
Okay.
The goose was flying. And
wait, while the car was moving?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine the driver in that situation? And the police said that the goose was taken to the local vet, and the taxi driver had to repair the damage to his vehicle.
Probably needed some counseling, too.
Hope that goose had insurance.
Oh, that's funny. He probably had Aflac.
Man, but, I mean, that would be so crazy. You're just driving along, and then all of a sudden, bam, a goose in the taxi.
I could imagine. I've had a bird, like, fly into my windshield. But, that's just, like, a little bird. I could imagine a goose flying inside of the car. Like, it must have been insane. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't imagine. Like, I've hit animals, and it makes a loud thud. Like possums and armadillos.
Yeah.
And birds. But I've never had one fly through the windshield and break it and into the car.
So it came in through his windshield, shattered his windshield.
Yeah.
My goodness. And the bird was alive?
Yep. They took it to the vet.
Oh my gosh.
Took the bird to the vet and then left the man to repair his own taxi.
I wonder if the goose was like hissing at him and like squawking at him or something. Yeah, man. Like, you ever get close to him and they start hissing
those
at
things
you?
are.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
I play golf a lot, and when I'm back home, and there's geese. There's geese all over there's gooses. There's geese all over the golf courses, and if you hit your ball next to one, they just look at it, and then they'll look at you. And then you got to decide if you want to go hit it. But usually, though, if you hit it where the geese are, it's not a good shot anyway. So you're just gonna be like, all right. The geese can have
hit a new one.
The geese can have that one. I'm gonna take my losses.
Yeah, they are super territorial animals.
Yeah, they're so cool though, especially ones that fly into taxis. So, what kind of heartwarming good news stories you got for us?
So this is actually really cool to me and kind of like brought back a little bit of nostalgia. So Lego, the company, they're encouraging people to ship unused bricks back to the company so they can give them to less fortunate children. And they specifically are donating them to children's nonprofits in the U.S. And they have a whole process of, they like built a whole new area where they're receiving all of these used bricks, and they're cleaning and inspecting, all the pieces to make sure that they're good, and then repackaging them and then just giving them out. And that's so cool. The best toy I remember as a kid was Legos. Like we had a huge bin of them, and like there's no end to like creativity when you're just building with Legos.
I had Legos. I never was really into them, but my big thing, similar to Legos, was Lincoln Logs.
Okay, yeah.
But it's the same concept. The creativity.
Yeah.
The creativity of them it can really help a child, and to send your unused Legos back, that's awesome. So they can send them to less fortunate kids. Is just so cool.
I mean, if this is something that interests any of you guys, the Lego Replay website, you can just Google that, and it'll take you right to the website that you need to get the information from, and they will send you a box to like put all your Legos in, and you can be blessing some kids of a nonprofit that that don't really have much, that are less fortunate. So like, I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and you'd be amazed at how far, if you have no experience with kids. Like, if you're not a parent or if you've never worked with kids, you'd be amazed at how far just as simple something as a box of Legos can mean something to a kid, and how much enjoyment they'll get out of those Legos.
Yep. And how long that impression of kindness would rest upon them. Like, somebody thought of me and sent me these Legos, like, just out of nowhere. So.
Yeah, like, why? And, why did this random person give me Legos?
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. That's so cool.
So what do you got for good news this week?
All right, so a 71-year-old retired bricklayer and part-time fisherman, I'm not going to say this name well, João Pereira de Souza, who lives in an island village just outside Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, found a small penguin lying on the rocks at his local beach in 2011. The penguin was covered in oil and running out of time. And so this man rescued the penguin, named it Din Din, D-I-N, cleaned the oil off its feathers, and fed him a daily diet of fish to rebuild its strength. And so after a week of rehab for the penguin, he attempted to release the penguin because it was better. He wanted to release it back into the wild. But the penguin had already formed a family bond with him, and the penguin wouldn't leave. He stayed with me for 11 months, and then just after he changed his coat with new feathers, he disappeared, João recalls. So
new hair, new me?
Yeah, I'm out. Peace.
Yeah, new hair, new me.
But a few months later, the penguin returned to the same beach.
Oh, really?
And the fisherman saw him while he was fishing, and the penguin walked up to him and followed him around. And so it says the cycle has continued for 5 years, and each year the penguin spends approximately 8 months with the fisherman.
Wow.
And is believed to spend the rest of the time breeding on the Patagonia coast of Argentina and Chile.
Wow, so this is in South America, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
Rio de Janeiro is where, yeah. So
I didn't know there's penguins down there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It'd be so cool to have a penguin for a pet.
The guy in the story says that the penguin won't let anybody else touch it. He says, it'll sit in my lap, and I can pet it, but if anybody else tries to touch it, it'll peck at him.
That's crazy.
So he's got a penguin for a pet for 8 months out of the year.
He's a penguin whisperer, apparently.
That's awesome. How cool would it be to have a penguin?
Yeah, Din Din. It doesn't
Din
sound like a very friendly name. I mean, of course, I'm guessing they don't speak English there.
Right.
So, I hear din. I
think
think like
dinner.
dinner. Yeah.
Oh, look,
So,
a penguin. Din.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think
that's a cultural
that's
thing.
really cool. Yeah.
But that's so cool.
Yeah.
So
what I liked most about that story, I think, is your accent, like penguin and "oh." That's just great to me.
If you want to translate for me, you could tell them penguin and oil.
That's just great to me, man. I dog in your accent a lot, but I really like it. I think it's very very heartwarming. So
appreciate it.
Another little funny story. Me and Eric are on the same floor, and when we first got to Moody, we were going around introducing ourselves, and we were going around in the circle saying what our name was and what our favorite dessert was. And when it got to Eric, it's like, my name's Eric Tidwell. My favorite dessert's pecan pie. And I started busting out laughing and said, you make pecan pie sound so much better just by saying pecan pie. And I've just loved it ever since then.
Do you want some pecan pie? No. Do you want pecan pie? Absolutely.
Pie.
So.
But yeah. Oh, man.
That was funny. People, especially up here, one thing that I worried about before I came up here last year was losing my accent. And I know that people up here would still find me Southern, but
100%.
I didn't want to go home and people be like, you sound like
a Yankee.
You sound like a Yankee. And I ain't no Yankee. Come on.
I ain't no Yankee.
And so
let me reassure you, and I'm sure everybody listening can tell you that your accent is thick and healthy. It's doing just fine.
So I make it a point to say Southern phrases and yeah. So there's this one that I'll say sometimes. So back home there's a lot of churches. There's a couple churches in every town. There's just a lot of churches. And so a saying is, if there's a lot of something, so in this specific case you'd be like, you can't sling a dead cat without hitting a church back in Alabama. And so this is like, you can't sling a dead cat through a hallway without hitting a Star Wars fan or something like that.
That's
so
funny.
I've
never heard that.
I'll try to emphasize stuff like that just to keep myself,
keep the South alive,
to keep myself in check.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. No, I'm sure the listeners do too, because it's that's heartwarming and good news.
Well, yeah, with that, we're going to end. We thank you for listening, and be sure to tune in next week, and y'all have a great week.
See ya.